In today's video, I will show you everything I prepared before going on a 1-week vacation away from my birds. After graduating from high school in Austria, it is common to go on a vacation with all your classmates. So that's what I'm going to be doing. This 1 week I will stay in Croatia and my mom will be taking care of my animals. To make everything as easy as possible for her, I started off preparing by cleaning all coops and my aviary. Right here you can see my aviary after I removed all of the old bedding. This corner with earth right here is the only exception. I simply add some new earth and mix it instead of replacing everything. I like to rearrange all the inventory and hiding places from time to time. As you can see, it took some time to try and arrange everything perfectly. Although rearranging is optional, I quite enjoy doing so and being really creative here. Here you can see me adding hay to the areas where the hens like to lay their eggs. This adds more variety to the bedding, which quails really enjoy. You might also notice I don't own any fancy store-bought hiding places. Reusing or upcycling old materials like baskets or furniture is a great way to make keeping quails more affordable. And by adding many natural pieces like stones or wood, I can provide the quails with a more natural environment as well. After that, I put the regular bedding in the aviary. I switch the type of bedding quite often depending on what materials are available. This time I used wood chaff which were made from oak and beech branches we got from a piece of forest we are allowed to use. Last but not least, I pinched off some willow branches. These dry out pretty quickly, so I add new ones every week or so. After all that, the aviary looks really nice and clean again. At the top I have added some new branches for my cockatiels as well. Next up, I took care of the coops inside. I simply swapped the old bedding with new one. These coops here are mainly used for raising chicks. By now I have already separated the roosters from my hens, so the quails you can see here in the coops and in the transportation box are mainly hens I will be selling. Caring for a lot of different groups of quails is far more time consuming than just having one big coop with many quails. So I tried to minimize the amount of different groups here. I have had an inquiry for quail hens from a nice family, and luckily I was able to hand over the birds a day before I left for Croatia. I then combined two smaller groups of quails in the bigger coop so that my mom would have the least amount of work here. After I will return from my trip, I will be selling the rest of the hens from this brood to make space for the next chicks. I did not keep any hens from this flock as there were few hens to begin with and they also weren't breeded pure to the color that I wanted. I do plan on keeping some hens from the next hatch though. After I finished mucking out the coops, I tried to clean up this space here as good as possible. Quails are in general pretty dusty, and with all the other stuff that is stored here, it is not possible to get rid of all of the dust. That is also why I only use these coops temporarily in the summer for raising chicks. On the last day before leaving, I did all my usual chores like collecting eggs and filling up food and water containers. However, normally not every container needs to be filled up every day. But today I'm still going to do that so that the containers last as long as possible when I'm gone. As you can see, I have lots of different containers for different groups. This is also the reason why I wanted to reduce the number of extra groups of quails so that there is less work here. As I already mentioned before, on this same day some quails got picked up, so there were less groups in the end. So this is our food storage right now, as you can see, and I'm now going to refill or fill up all of these containers. The same as for the water containers applies for all of these different food containers. So I tried to reduce the amount of different ones as much as possible. Compared to water, this is more difficult as I have different species of birds in my aviaries which need different food than the quails. Therefore, I have additional containers here. It is important that whoever covers for you knows how to feed the different birds right. After collecting the eggs from all quail coops and the aviary, I only had one thing left to do, which is moving my portable quail coop to a fresh piece of grass. You might know this type of shelter from chickens, but we use it not only for them but also for quails and rabbits. Luckily, we've never had problems with martens, so this works really well in the warmer seasons. So I just finished preparing everything, filling up all the containers, and I'm leaving in the middle of the night, so a friend is coming and picking me up at around midnight. So tomorrow my mom will be taking care of all the animals, and now I will just explain to her what food she should feed the birds, because I'm mixing some of the food myself, so it can be a bit confusing. So I'm just going to tell her everything, and then I'm done and ready for 1 week of holiday.